Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to my second video about melody and playing melodically. Today we're going to talk about controlling dissonance and consonance. So if you haven't seen part one, please go back and watch where I talk about awareness of harmonic vocabulary and how we take our chords and fit them inside scales and how you can figure that out. We will do more of that in the future in this series of videos, but for now we're going to move along with some concepts and philosophies, and I'm going to show you some things I did with the first backing track we used in the first video, which I will leave another link for so you can jam over that and see the ideas I'm using. So first, as I talked about last time, we're going to use some different scales. So last time we used a little version of the E major pentatonic scale with some of these tones fit in, but today we're going to use two forms within this melody that I have written out here. So the first one is going to be the E major form that starts on the 7th fret. It goes 7, 9, 11, 7, 9, 11, 7, 9, 11, 8, 9, 11, 9, 10, 12, 9, 11, 12. The second form I will use, and excuse me, I've been sick and congested for almost a couple weeks now due to the weather, but just bear with me. We have the second form here starts on E, and that's going to be 12, 14, 16, 12, 14, 16, 13, 14, 16, 13, 14, 16, 14, 16, 17, 14, 16, 17, and then of course our E major pentatonic, which starts on 9, 12, 9, 11, 9, 11, 9, 11, 9, 12, 9, 12. Okay, now what I'm going to do is play through this melody, and then I'm going to use some of these ideas to embellish the melody itself. So last time we talked about picking tones and chord tones and how they fit inside, and then methodically going through and finding tones that you think sound good with those chords and putting them together to make a sensible melody. We will talk more in the future about what chords you can and start on and end on to make it sound like more of a beginning, more of an end, and how to control the phrasing within. But for our purposes today, we're just going to talk about controlling dissonance and consonance, okay? And this is a very important concept, I think, in music, and this is really what makes good music good music. Now, often pieces themselves define what is consonant and what is dissonant. We have our own kind of societal and cultural concepts of this. Oftentimes, like it sounds like this, are dissonant, where we think of perfect fifths as being consonant. Okay, again, dissonance, consonants. I don't want to qualify it as good or bad sound, but sometimes dissonances make people uncomfortable, and consonances often bring a sense of relief. So we're talking about this kind of idea of tension and relaxation. Tension would be dissonance, and relaxation are consonants, okay? So what I've done here is marked with a little asterisk which tones are not actual chord tones, okay? So as you can see, I'm going to be moving from non-chord tones to chord tones, and then from chord tones to non-chord tones, all right? So this way we can kind of create something that's kind of somewhat meaningful towards us and emotional, I guess you could say. It's not just shredding up and down. There is a reason, there is meaning behind what we're doing here. And it's meaning that we're inferring. It can be whatever you want. I'm just putting that definition of it out there. All right, so you're going to hear me use some bends in here, okay, and on the actual melody. And then what I'm going to do is use some of these scales and these tones in here to embellish, okay, on this melody after I play through it once. So the idea being that we're creating variations. We're not really repeating ourselves, And we're also using those things we work so hard at, the scales, the shredding, the patterns, the threes in our tapping or arpeggios. Okay, so I'm just going to use whatever feels right, okay, or whatever comes to me at the time. So none of this is really rehearsed, okay. Only this melody, I just put it together from the last time from our last video from what I had written up here before, which I can leave screenshots on my Facebook wall, or send you shots of those if you cannot see them. But the last video should be in the resolution should be 720 or 1080p, depending on whether you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube. So you should be able to see it clearly. But if not, please do message me and I can send you screenshots or pictures of that. All right, so let's get started. We're going to be using the Satriani backing track, which again, I said I'll leave a link for in the description below. Here we go. Okay, and again, I'm just improvising and using some of these concepts down here, all right, to try and embellish on this melody. So you could hear at certain points I took 13 and bent it up to 16. But more importantly, what I want you to hear in there is that some of these tones aren't necessarily consonant, but we bend them to the right note, okay, such as this 8 to 9 up here, and then here on our 9 and 11, this is a G sharp and an F sharp. Again, not in the chord of this A sharp 11 9 here. So it just sounds like it's moving back to the original tone. Now, I don't think this is the greatest melody in the world, but it works. It's nice. Okay, I wouldn't mind playing this live at all. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing here, please feel free to hit me up at my YouTube or my Facebook, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube, and we'll talk further about more philosophies, how to handle these ideas, and some technique stuff in there. There's a ton of technique videos out there. There's a million awesome guitar players offering lessons on YouTube. I just want to offer something a little different outside of shredding, and how to really kind of create and play melodies. Again, we will talk later more about the philosophy of that and bring up some classical composers and see what they said. And that'll be that might be the next video we do, and I might go back and do another song or melody or a ballad of mine or something like that, or maybe a rock tune, where I show you what scales I'm using, how I'm going to figure out what's going to be the lead line, and then how to embellish that, okay? And then we'll talk also about some of these things you can do in there and how to fit them in a musical context, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great new year, everybody, and I will see you next time. I am Taylor Morgeson, and this is the North Texas Guitar Licks channel.